Life in Canada from 1850 to 1890 was a time of great change and growth. During this period, Canada saw a large increase in population, as well as significant economic, political, and social developments. Let's look at what life was like in Canada from 1850 to 1890. For most Canadians, life during this time period was characterized by hard work, often under difficult and dangerous conditions. Many people lived in rural areas and relied on agriculture or resource extraction for their livelihoods. Farming was particularly challenging, as it required long hours and hard physical labor, and farmers were at the mercy of the weather and unpredictable markets. Most rural families lived in small, 1 or 2 room houses made of wood, mud, or stone. These houses were often heated with wood or coal and had limited access to running water and indoor plumbing. Families often shared living space with animals and relied on outhouses for sanitation. However, as the population grew and new technologies were introduced, many people began to move to larger towns and cities in search of work. Life in the cities was somewhat different, with growing populations and the emergence of new industries. The growth of manufacturing, particularly in textiles and clothing, provided new job opportunities for many people. However, these jobs often came with long hours, low pay, and dangerous working conditions. Factories and mills began to pop up all over the country, providing jobs for thousands of people. This led to the growth of cities like Toronto, Montreal, and Quebec City, which became major centers of commerce and culture. In terms of social and cultural life, the mid-19th century was marked by significant changes and developments. Indigenous peoples were marginalized and forced to give up their land and culture, while women and workers faced significant discrimination and exploitation. Many groups fought for their rights and worked to improve their lives, laying the foundation for the more equitable and diverse Canada of the present day. Canada was an attractive destination for immigrants from Europe, particularly after the end of the Irish potato famine in the late 1840s. Many immigrants faced significant challenges, including discrimination, poor working conditions, and inadequate housing. While there were some public schools in Canada during this time period, many children did not receive an education beyond their basic literacy and numeracy. Education was often restricted based on social status, ethnicity, or gender. While life was often difficult and demanding, people also found ways to enjoy leisure time and socialize. Activities like reading, playing music, and attending dances and concerts were popular, as were sports like hockey and lacrosse. Finally, in politics, the mid-19th century was a time of significant political change in Canada, with the emergence of new political parties, including the Liberal and Conservative parties, and the growing call for responsible government. The Confederation of Canada in 1867 was a significant political milestone, leading to the creation of the Dominion of Canada. In conclusion, life in Canada from 1850 to 1890 was a time of great change and growth. The country saw an increase in population, economic development, and political independence, but also faced challenges such as dangerous working conditions and low wages. However, despite these difficulties, Canadians remained optimistic about their future and continued to work towards a better life for themselves and their families. Now here's a challenge for you. You'll be finding and researching primary resources to analyze one topic of your choice about life in Canada between 1850 and 1890. To do this, you'll need to choose one topic about life in Canada during this time that you would like to focus on. Then, find at least 3 primary sources that relate to your chosen topic. These can be letters, diary entries, photographs, newspaper articles, etc. Anything from that time period. Analyze each of your primary sources, focusing on what they can tell us about life in Canada during this time period. And finally, summarize your findings and explain what your primary source has taught you about your topic surrounding life in Canada between 1850 and 1890 by using a slideshow or a report. Be sure to properly cite where you got your primary sources from. Some topics you can choose to focus on include farming and life on farms, the growth of cities and life in cities, the development of industry, social change for marginalized groups like women, Indigenous peoples, and immigrants, education, inventions, politics, and leisure time. To find resources, you can use the Library and Archives Canada database. You can find the link to this website in the video description below. Once you're there, use the Collections search bar and type in the keyword for your topic, such as education, cities, Toronto, hockey, or politics, followed by the year you're looking for, such as 1880. After entering your search keyword, select the Images tab to look at photos and images of people, places, and documents. Be sure to read the headings for each image to double check what year or time period it's from and include that information in your slideshow. Find 3 primary sources that match your topic. Read the headings and descriptions for them and then add them to your slideshow. For each one, be sure to include what the primary source is, when it was taken or made, and a brief explanation of what you learned about life in Canada between 1850 and 1890 from this resource. Be prepared to share your presentation with the class and discuss your findings. Good luck.